Barbara, we have our chart here, and earlier I mentioned that I'm not a fan of the color scheme.
Yeah, this is the same default color scheme they've used for version after version after version, and it's kind of old looking and it looks not that great. It's hard to look at for me. So you can go in and make some changes. So let's take some time and look at some of the things that are available to us.
Okay.
First of all, if I want to change the color of a particular data series, and when I say data series, anything in the legend is a series. So region 1 is a series, region 2 is a series.
Okay.
Purple ones. Now I notice you just clicked on region 4. And if you look closely at January, February, and March, you're going to see little handles on the ends of each of those bars. That data series is right now selected.
Okay.
You can put your mouse inside the data series, right click, and format the data series. So you can come right down there, click on the format data series, and change your fill color. And you can deal with a gradient, which would give you kind of a shading change over from top to bottom or left to right or whatever. You can do solid. You can even put in pictures if you want to. If you have a picture you want to choose, you can go find a picture to pick. Or there's some textures that you can pull, various things there. Most people deal with solid or gradient.
Okay.
And then notice down below you have your color choices. And you just choose the color you want. Okay.
Okay.
And then you just click close.
And then it changes all of
It
them.
changes it, all of them. And notice in the legend it changed there too.
So I can go in there and choose, our colors are the orange and pink, hot pink. So I could go in there and do that for each one of those
Right.
series.
And if for some reason there was a data point you wanted to highlight,
Okay.
like you have region 4 selected, and I'm looking at the February numbers for region 4, it looks to be the lowest numbers.
It is.
Maybe I wanted to kind of give a different color or something, just to say, okay, this is what was going on here. We had a weather catastrophe at this site, and so we couldn't, maybe there was a hurricane or whatever, but something to indicate why the numbers are low.
Okay.
Notice you still have all 3 of the bars or columns related to this series highlighted.
You kind of have to look close to see those little circles.
Right. Click just once on the one in February. Now notice it's the only one highlighted. So you could individually format just one if you wanted to, and that would be mainly to make it stand out. And I would suggest that if you did that, you go back and maybe put a border on it or something along those lines, or something to make it stand out. In fact, if you right click and go back to format data series or data point now, then you'll notice you do have border colors. All right, now that we're in border color, you can choose one of the options. You have solid line, you have a gradient line, and so forth. Solid line is probably going to be your best bet. You want to choose a color that's going to stand out against the orange, though.
Sure. So maybe what, a black or?
That would be a possible one. Maybe an aqua, just something that really pops against it. Me, I would choose purple, but I'm a Clemson fan, so.
Oh, no.
I know, you don't like that. Now, you'll notice on our screen, we can kind of see a light border there, but it's not standing out real strong. So under border color on the left, we have border styles, and I can go in and change the size of my border. Let's make it a little bit bigger, the width. And you see it forming there?
Oh, yeah.
And you could even change what line style it is, if it's a double line or something along those lines. And
like that, double line.
There you go. And then you just click close. And you've actually just formatted one data point separately from the other data points.
Okay, so if I want to select a series, I would click once on that one of those series, and it will select all of those.
Right.
If I want to do something just with that point, is what you call that, then I would then click again, and it would just pick that one.
Right.
Okay, good.
Right. Okay, now there are other things I can do formatting wise. Obviously you can change the colors, and we won't take the time to go and change each bar right now, but you can do that. Let's look at a few other things related to charting. For example, you might want some titles in here.
Oh, yeah.
You might want to change the values on your y-axis, your value axis. So we're going to go up to our Chart Tools Contextual tab, which of course is active because
it is, our chart is active.
Our chart is active. As long as we're inside our chart, then we get that contextual tab.
Okay.
And let's go to the layout option, and you'll notice, did you ever use the charting wizard in older versions of Excel?
Where it asks you a bunch of questions?
Right.
Yes.
This is basically step 3 in that
Okay.
wizard, where you put in your chart title and your axis title, and you determine what happened with your legend and things along those lines. So let's just quickly take a look. In your labels group of the chart tools layout tab, you'll notice chart title.
Oh, yeah.
And right now we don't have one. You can have it above the chart, overlaid over, or whatever. And once it pops in there, of course, you can click in there and type whatever your chart title is.
Okay.
Okay? And it formats just like any other text. So
Okay.
you would highlight it and go back to the home tab and format it.
So it's a text box.
It's a text
Okay,
box,
perfect.
exactly. Axis titles, if you click on that one, you have your horizontal axis, which is the x-axis, and I believe we have our months down there. So if you come down there, you'll notice we've got the months. So you could choose that and put one below the axis, and you could say first quarter or months or something
okay.
along those lines if you
Okay.
wanted to. Go back to axis titles. Your vertical might be of use because 500 what? Are these units? What is this?
Okay.
And so you could put in the title on the axis, and notice that you have rotated, vertical, horizontal. A lot of people like the rotated one. Go on and choose the rotated one.
Oh, yeah.
So it sits on its side. It's a little weird clicking in there and typing, but you can click in there and type.
units.
All right.
Okay.
Okay. Now, a couple other things. Your legend, that's the next thing on this section of our layout tab. The legend defaults to the right.
Okay.
A lot of times that kind of squishes in your chart, so it's useful a lot of times to tell it to put the legend at the bottom. And you'll notice you have various options here. So let's choose show legend at bottom.
Oh, yeah, it gives it more room.
Right, so it makes it look less crowded. The next one is data labels. We actually chose in our pie chart in an earlier module a format that automatically put the labels in there because it showed the percentages. So we can choose to put the values, the actual values each one of these columns represent, and you can put them in the center of the column, inside at the very top on the end, inside at the very bottom, or right above. So
Okay.
whichever one you want, just pick one. And see, there the values are, so we can see what each one of those represents.
So that way we don't have to follow it across.
Right.
Okay.
This next one's kind of neat. Some people like it, some people don't see the need for it, but you can put the actual data that this is derived from underneath your chart. So choose Show Data Table,
Oh,
and there you have it. Now, if you go back and do Data Table again and choose the one with legend keys,
and it gives us our legend.
and then you could choose to turn off the legend if you chose to have the data table instead.
Okay.
All right?
Yep.
The other thing I want to show you is this y-axis, our value axis. If you click on the axis, our value axis is vertical. So if we point to this, to the value axis, notice we can change it to thousands or millions or something along those lines. Or there's a more option at the bottom. So we really don't need thousands or millions unless we want to decide that that's what those numbers represent, right?
Sure. Yeah.
So let's come down to the more option. This is where I can change how it's set up. And I'll tell you what, just so we can look at the axis while we're doing this, do you know how to move a dialog box over?
Yeah, just push this over here.
Push on the title bar, click and drag. Right now, our maximum on the axis is 500. Our minimum is 0. We're going to leave the minimum at 0, but really our highest number is under 450.
Okay.
So if we wanted, we could come up here in axis options where it says maximum, choose fixed, and change that to 450, okay? And then we also can choose our units. Right now, you'll notice there are lines on the graph that show every 50.
Yes.
We could change that and make it maybe every 100.
Okay.
So we could go to fixed and change that. And then the last one, the minor unit, let's say you want to have more than just those single lines. Maybe we want to break it down where, since we went to 100, maybe we want to see it in increments of 25. So we can put minor units in at 25.
Okay.
And then the other thing is we can add tick marks. And you'll notice if you look at your axis, go over to your chart, do you see how the lines come out beyond the axis
I do.
for 450, 350, and so forth. Those are tick marks.
Okay.
So your major tick marks, according to this, are outside. Question?
Well, I was just going to say it's just not bad drawing.
Oh, no, it's not. It's not. It's just, it's literally set right here in the middle of this dialog box. If you click on the drop down, you can have none, you can have it inside, outside, or crossing over the line. For the major, I like outside.
Okay.
I think it's a little easier to see. But the minor is those units of 25 we set. So let's choose that and let's do inside.
Oh, yeah. Look at those show up.
And there they show up. And then you can just click OK. Or close, I'm sorry, and there you have it. We have changed our axis.
That looks good. It makes it easier to follow it across to see exactly what
Right.
it is if we didn't have these numbers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. The next section is your grid lines. We'll take a quick look at that one. And I could add grid lines to those major and minor TID marks.
Oh, okay.
You know, right now I have major grid lines. If I wanted, I could put in minor grid lines too.
Ooh, that's busy.
It does get kind of busy. I've shown you all the bells and whistles. Obviously, you don't want to do all of this.
Right, right.
Okay, but that gives you an idea of some of the things available to you. And that is formatting your chart.